I see Michaela in the waiting ring. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on. Let's get her on here. Here she is. Michaela, where'd she go? I thought I was bringing you on. It did not work.
And
where you are? There you are. Hi.
Hi.
Good morning. You look festive.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I try. This is my favorite card. Maslow has the other one.
Oh, Maslow does? Oh, we need to see that. Let's get Maslow real quick.
Maslow, come here, honey. Come here. Let's come.
So Maslow, for those of you that do not know who Maslow is a professional. Oh my goodness, I can't deal with it. He is a therapy dog, a working therapy dog. Mm-hmm. He goes to work with Michaela every week and helps the children at Midway High School or junior. Where are you at? Middle school, excuse me, middle school. And so he is a professional. We're glad to have Maslow on the show as well. Glad he's matching you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I'll probably just hang out here for the rest of the time I'm on.
That's fine. That's fine. Maslow's very welcome. Livy's over here in the background anyway. Oh, hi, Sharika. And I had a wonderful tip just dropped by one of our viewers. It says they could try Google Skills Shop. They have lots of free training. So that's another phenomenal resource. Thank you, Sharika. That is a wonderful, wonderful tip. Thank you very much. So Google Skills Shop, that's one I didn't even know. So everybody, if you want some trainings and you want to learn something, check out Google Skills Shop. Thank you so very much for that. And yes, Maslow is very cute. Sharika says he's very cute. That's my nephew. He's adorable. I love him. All right. So Michaela, I wanted to kind of get your take on this. So at the beginning, I mean, you've been with Career Launch since the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. And at the beginning, everybody, despair was the number one word that we heard from people. And that was so disheartening.
Was it despair or defeated?
Both, actually. But okay. Defeated was, I think you're right. You did correct. I think defeated was number one, but we heard despair a lot as well too. And since then, and at the time it was, there's no jobs, there's no information, there's nothing. Now, kind of excited about this, it's shifted. So I did this poll and I think I sent it to you just so that you could see about that they are, I asked, okay, what's your number one concern? And it was, is it number of jobs? Is it getting lost in the shuffle? Is it getting the kind of money you want? Or is it job security? And now basically nobody seemed worried about number of jobs. I think one person replied that was their concern. Yeah. Everybody else, it seemed to focus on job security and getting lost in the shuffle. Yeah. So what does that tell you, first of all, about the psychology of what's going on with people right now and how things are shifting?
I see a lot of anxiety because we've been thrown into the situation of uncertainty. Back since March of this year, we have just been topsy-turvy. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what's going to happen, what's coming next. And so there's a lot of anxiety and uncertainty. And I don't blame people for being concerned with job security. In fact, I saw this cartoon a couple of weeks ago that really, I thought, depicted the situation well. And it was a group of these cartoon characters pushing open a door that said 2021 with a broom. Like, what's in there? Yeah, I thought it was funny, but it was also really, really true. And so I've seen a lot of that happening, people being very concerned about what's coming. And as far as, what was the second thing you asked about?
I don't know. I know. They were talking about job security, and then the other thing that people were really focused on is getting lost in the shuffle. So being I'm just blending in with everyone else, all the other candidates out there.
Well, I see the reasoning behind that is that there's probably a lot of people trying to re-enter the job market right now. And so I would imagine there'd be a lot of competition. And it makes sense to me that there'd be concern about being lost in the shuffle. So
you were not on yet when I gave the stats for this. So our unemployment rate has dropped to 6.7. That's good. But there are 3.9 million people that are on long-term unemployment. That means 6 months or longer they've been unemployed. And that has gone up by 385,000.
Oh man, that's
a lot.
Really difficult.
Yeah, that's a lot. Now, the good news is the job market has also seen an increase in positions of about 245,000 positions.
Okay.
So that's good. So at least there's jobs to be had. But I do think that there is something to, okay, so how do I, with all these people, what do I do? And by the way, that unemployment number is still 3.2% higher than we were pre-COVID. So it's getting better. It's getting better, but it is much higher than we were pre-COVID.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of jobs that were lost, a lot of positions that were let go because of COVID.
Yes, absolutely. And there's still 2.8 million on temporary layoff that should be getting their jobs back, but some of them have still been unemployed a few months. So let's talk real quick just about what does the uncertainty of being unemployed for months at a time, whether you think you have a job to go back to or not, what might some of these people be feeling, and what are some of your tips to help them get through it?
Well, the first thing that hit me was, again, that the anxiety. I was like, well, what's coming? Not knowing what to do. And because they can't do anything right now, or at least it's very I'm not going to say can't, but it's very difficult to do things for yourself right now. That energy gets stored in your body. And so then there's nowhere for it to go, and it just sort of sits there. And then I can also see that leading to depression, especially if there's nothing that you can do for yourself. I know, because I've seen it in clients, I've seen it in other people that I know, that depression can hit pretty hard.
Okay. So how do you release that energy then, instead of just keeping it inside?
Well, I'm an avid worker outer. I like work. I do other stuff good. I don't verb well, but sometimes I go and work out. Just getting your body moving is a good way to get out energy that's stored up and pent up. Also, just moving through the emotion. And this is something I'm a very strong, firm believer in. And what I mean by that is, if there's anxiety, it can be very easy that our initial response is, oh no, it's not there. I'm not anxious. Just push it to the side, push it to the side, push it to the side. Mm-hmm. And instead of doing that, giving yourself an opportunity to, okay, it's unpleasant, it's uncomfortable, I'm anxious, and it's here. Mm-hmm. I'm worried about this. And one thing I often do, hold on, let me get him down. There you go, honey. There you go. And one thing I often do for myself, I suggest this to clients, my own counselor works with me on it, is actually inviting your emotions in, like saying, hey, anxiety's here, come sit with me. Let me get you a cup of tea, like you would a friend, and just sort of work through it. Mm-hmm. That's more experiential. That's something I'm into, but it's something that can help a lot.
One thing that I do that you and I have talked about before is I do, and because of some of my mental health issues, mm-hmm. I do grounding exercises. And what grounding is, guys, is when you just kind of bring yourself back down to earth. Because what happens mm-hmm. is, I know for me personally, when you start to think, I'm never going to eat again, I'm never going to work again or whatever, you get afraid, and it's that fight or flight starts to kick in. So mm-hmm. I do exercises that kind of work me back down to a functional level. So things like, the first kind of things you want to do is kind of bring yourself back to just reality on things that cannot be argued with, things that that your brain can say, yes, this is fact, this is okay. So mm-hmm. I will look at something and say, that tree has green leaves, and this couch is very soft, and I have a glitter mm-hmm. stress ball thing, and I'll sit there and I'll focus on every sensation that's giving me, and it just mm-hmm. calms my brain down. And then what I'm able to do is find a solution, because then my brain has relaxed. It is in factual mode, not fight or flight anymore. And then I can look at the problem and go, oh, okay, this is a direction, and I'm going to take that. And that's mm-hmm. this is how I'm going to deal with that.
That's a phenomenal way to ground yourself and to stay. Well, I very much am a follower of Buddhism. It's something mm-hmm. that in my personal counseling theory, it's laced within my personal counseling theory. And I study it on my own, and grounding is a huge part of that. It's the present living. It's that mindfulness and being able yes. to ground oneself to what like you said, reality, what's around you. Mm-hmm. In the immediate moment, because that's the only time we are alive. The past is a breeding ground for depression, and the future is a breeding ground for anxiety. So it's like living here in this moment. That's such a beautiful way to work through what's happening.
Right. Absolutely. I love that too. And I think it's so important to take the time to do this for yourself, because otherwise you will just end up in pandemonium and stress. And how that ties back to your job search and everything is a lot of times, and I spend a lot of time now talking to job seekers where I didn't as much before, other than my candidates. But because of this show, I spend a lot more time now talking to job seekers and hearing their perspective on things. And one of the things that I've seen a lot is that people, they get so disheartened because they're just getting, you get so many rejections and you get ignored so much, right? There's that lost in the shuffle bit, right? And so you have to find a way to stand out and just to get through it, because sometimes it's just, you just got to keep going till one day it works. The other thing is, Einstein's definition of insanity is to keep repeating the same action and expecting a different result. Guys, if it goes a couple of months and you're not getting any nibbles, try something else. And stay out. I tell people always say, I always hear show hosts and things like that say, go outside your comfort zone. Stay outside of your comfort zone. And you will also grow a lot as a person. What do you think, Michaela?
I entirely agree. I'm also laughing because I am like, I don't always do that because my comfort zone is very comfortable.
Yes, that's why it's called a comfort zone.
That checks out. But yeah, I think that especially in the professional world, when you're looking for jobs and trying to stand out, and like talking about that statistic that you took in your poll, Catherine, wanting to stand out amongst other people, or you not wanting to get lost in the crowd, step outside your comfort zone.
And stay there. Stay there until something works.
That's actually a very good point, because what will start happening, something that I've done before, is like stick that foot out, stick the little toe in the water, and then it's like, oh, I tried it. Now I'm going to go back in my comfort zone. Someone can take that bite if they want. No. It's especially in the professional world, is about staying outside of that comfort zone. So I'm really glad you brought that up, Catherine.
It's been a thing that I've watched several other people preach that really know what they're doing and that have had great success from it, and it's true. Donnie Boyvan preaches it. Trevor Houston, Anna Morgan. She's always talking about that, and you just have to kind of just say, okay, well, this is just what I'm going to do. And I had Janice Downey on a couple episodes ago, and she was a candidate that had reached out to me and seen the show and wanted to talk and all this. And I said, at the end of our conversation, I said, I'm going to have you on my show. And she goes, oh no, no, I can't do that. She was wonderful. You saw her. She was fantastic. And not only that, it's the second we were done, she goes, I want to do it again.
Mm-hmm. She blew out the water. I really enjoyed her segment.
Yeah, she did. She was wonderful. And I always tell people, you'll be surprised what you're good at. You'll be surprised. Oh my God, I'm talented at this. I didn't know I could do this.
I think since we're telling people to step outside their comfort zone, that maybe we should be nice and give them some ways in which to do that.
Okay. All right. So let's start with you. What are your thoughts?
Yes. So one of my leading struggles is anxiety. So if anyone understands not wanting to step out of your comfort zone, yours truly, though I am also naturally blessed as being an extrovert. But as I've grown, I'm an introverted extrovert. Anyway, I digress. I think it's a matter of, like I said, I'm very big on mindfulness. So acknowledging that you're going to be anxious, it's going to be uncomfortable, and guess what? And you can still do it. It's not a matter of but you can still do it. It's very much you are anxious and you can still do it.
You can.
Yeah. You can do difficult things. And I mean that. I know that sounds silly. You can do difficult things. If you really, really, really want to have that job, if you really want to get that promotion, have that position, maintain your position, step outside of your comfort zone. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be uncomfortable. I think it's just a matter of accepting that fact and working on your tolerance level. It's not going to be immediate. I'm not saying to just dive head first into 20-degree water. I'm saying, well, that would be impossible to be frozen, I'm guessing. Anyway, but I don't know when water freezes. I don't know.
Science is not your major. That's okay. But you're right. You're right. Just it's not going to kill you. And here are some specific things, guys. Okay, so you want to get a job, you want to stand out, you don't want to get lost in the shuffle. Great. Okay, so here are a few things that you could do to not get lost in the shuffle. It's the holiday season. Send out holiday cards, even e-cards, and don't make them all about hire me, hire me, hire me. Just say, hey, how you doing? Happy holidays. And then just sign it. Sincerely, your candidate hopeful or your, employment hopeful, Michaela, McCord, or whoever you are. And just do that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, make some videos of your, some professional videos and, just introducing yourself, talking about something that makes you passionate. Send those off to hiring managers. I know several people who have gotten interviews that way.
Watch. Get on Career Launch.
There you go. Seriously, in all sincerity, get on podcasts, whether it's my show, whether go on the Who You Know Job Networking show, go on. Yes, and get a copy of that clip and use it. And not only that, you never know what's going to come. I've had people come on this show, and this show is not intended for this, and they would get job offers right from being on my show. You've gotten, hold on, sorry, technical glitch. You've gotten clients for your marketing videos and stuff like that from my show. It happens. And by the way, she did make our intro video, and she also made our exit video. So just throwing that on out there, guys. But it's it really is one of those things. Get out there and get exposure. Let people see you as an expert, because when people see you as an expert, they want you to come work for them. That's just how it is. It works every single time.
Get on here and sell yourself.
Yeah, get on here and go, hey, I'm awesome. And you don't have to just sit there and pitch yourself. You could just show off what you know, and it'll work. If you work in IT, if you work in IT, go be on an IT podcast. If you're in HR, find an HR podcast. If you're in sales, there are so many sales podcasts, you guys. So many. Go be on one. Go be on a couple of them. Talk about it. Host. Oh, another one. This is a great one. Host your own events. Ooh. It is not that hard, guys. I promise you. I've done it. It's not that hard. Just get on LinkedIn, create an event, start inviting your contacts, and have a couple of people that you know that are real smart and have something to say, hop on with you. Voila. That's what I did with the first career launch. Michaela knows. That darn thing was.
It's just how you start building. You start small and then build. It's work. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a lot of work, Catherine. I know how much work you put into this. Yeah. And look at how big it's grown. So I think that speaks for itself.
It does. And I think too, people, so guys, when you're getting out there, just try some different things and do things your style too. Do things that are unique to you, because that will attract the right employment attention. That will get the right people coming your way. Another big one is your LinkedIn content, and we're going to have Chingir go into specifics on that for you later. But that really is a big one. That is a big one, is your LinkedIn content. If you're looking for a professional level position, start putting out contact, hashtag it, tag people that would be interested in it, get some conversations going. It doesn't take a lot. You don't need 100 likes or comments or whatever, but I mean, it's nice. It would be nice.
I had a question real quick. I was wondering if you would go into a little more detail on the proper way to hashtag, and if you want to, but I just honestly just think that maybe some clarity for people,
including yourself. Yeah.
not for me.
Hashtagging, actually, LinkedIn is really cool because it will suggest hashtags for you. So LinkedIn actually really helps. Facebook and stuff like that's not so helpful. But so what you want to do is you want to think of terms that people would be interested. So for instance, when I hashtagged this show, it was hashtag COVID, hashtag COVID-19 relief, hashtag COVID job crisis, career help, career advice, job seeking tips, things like that. So just stop and think of the top 15, 20, and you want a lot of hashtags, a lot of them, because this is, and what hashtags are, for those of you that don't know, because I get that too. What does hashtagging do? People follow these terms. And so when you hashtag it, it will show up in their feed because they follow that term. So that's really important. Same thing, by the way, if you want to post your resume or a video of your resume, guess what? Hashtag it. If you want to get on LinkedIn and have a bunch of people see your resume, hashtag it. People will see it. So that's hashtagging. Let's see. Can you give some tips on generating coffee chats? Okay. So this is going to be a controversial statement that I'm going to say here, and I'm going to say this on behalf of all the people I know that are in my position, that are in hiring team positions, that get these messages all the time. And we've said this before on the show. Do not message us and ask for 10 to 15 minutes of our time. And I know why you want to do that. Okay. I get it. And I'm not talking about just networking. Okay. That's not what I'm talking about. If you want help with your job search or your resume or something like that, you have to understand that all these people, myself included, we want to help you. We feel your pain. We understand. But if we did that for everyone who asked us, we would literally do nothing else. Okay. And that is true for every HR person I know, every recruiter that I know, every hiring manager that I know. Okay. We do not have 10 to 15 minutes. So here is the alternative. All right. Watch a bunch of programs like this where we're going to give you the tips, because this is how I give back to the job seekers. This is how I do it, because I don't have the time. Number 2 is get on Zoom, networking type things. All right. And get your questions in that way and ask. And a lot of those have options to go, I forget what they call it, but you could go off in like a separate little sub Zoom, just the two of you. Ask to do that. I can't think of the term. I'm so sorry. But, ask to that. Say, hey, can we branch off and have a little quick one-on-one? Do that, So go on the Zoom meetings that are like networking events and do that. Watch programs like this. And then if you have just a few real specific questions, shoot those over via LinkedIn. So like if you just have one or two real quick, I'm just kind of curious about this question, you don't need a whole conversation for that. Just shoot that off on LinkedIn and let them respond to you real quick. I do that for people all the time. I don't have 10 or 15 minutes to talk to you, but I will answer your questions via LinkedIn.
That's a more efficient way to spend your time, especially when you're so busy. You're running your own company. It's much more efficient.
3. I am running 3 companies.
That's so true. My apologies. I appreciate that. Yeah, 3 companies. It's very difficult to have time to respond to things like that. So
yes.
With chats, like 10 to 15 minutes, that's not practical. So I absolutely vehemently agree on, just tell me in the message what you want from me.
Yes.
Plus it takes away that uncertainty. Well, what's this going to be?
And that's too. Oh, Lord. And let me tell you too, I can't tell from this name if, male, female, whatever, but let me tell you, especially since being on the show, I get weird, let me hit on you messages a lot. And oh, Lordy. So you don't ever want to make somebody think that's what it is. So state your very clear purpose. Now, if you want to network, this is a whole other thing. If you're just looking to network, the best thing you can do is just send a message and say, hey, I'm looking to network. This is what I bring to the table. This is how I can maybe help you. Would you like to have a 10 to 15 minute chat? They either do or they don't.
And from the psychological standpoint of this, think about what's going to entice the person. You want to look appealing, friendly, and like you're going to work with them and do something for them in return too. Reciprocity is huge in the professional world. So anyway, I just wanted to throw that in.
No, 100%. That was spectacular, because that's extremely true. You want to let people know, I'm not looking to mooch. I'm here for a mutual relationship. This is what I'm here to do. So make sure, like she said, to put suggestions of, this is what I can do for you. This is some things I bring to the table. I could make some intros over here for you. I had one person that reached out to me and said, hey, I do a lot of networking. I know a ton of business owners. A lot of them are always griping to me about their hiring problems. I'd love to chat with you and see if maybe I could, send you some referrals.
Yeah. There you go.
That got my attention. And then it did. And then I also looked and I said, oh, great. Well, I could send you referrals on this. Mm-hmm. And that really worked out. So the other thing too is to target the appropriate people, right? Target people that you can have a mutual exchange with. Mm-hmm. Though that's going to be a lot more helpful.
Yeah, which takes research.
Yes. Yeah.
The companies you're looking at, don't just like look on LinkedIn and be like, oh, this person looks good. Like you said earlier, Catherine, pay attention to what they're posting. Mm-hmm. Just really show an interest, like a genuine interest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so one of the other things that's happened a lot during COVID is that more and more people are using these bots to like send out their marketing messages, to send out potential job search. People are doing this for their job search.
It's so obvious that it's a bot. It's like you did not take the time to come in here and give like you. For me, it sends a message of, you didn't give me your time. Why would I give you mine?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. It is the most annoying thing to go. And when I sit there and mess with the bot, by the way, every once in a while, if I'm just bored, I'll just sit there and mess with the bot. And like just because I'm bored out of my mind, but it's never going to go anywhere. Because yeah, well, I guess that's true. I'm going to hire the bot. No, it really, it is annoying. It is annoying. So first, I'll never do that. Even if hey, for my salespeople listening and all that, don't use these bots. They stink. Okay. Get a person. Michaela did this for me for a while. I hired her to send out my sales messages. Mm-hmm. She was still a person doing it so that she could have human response.
Tailored into the person's specific position. And I found really quickly, that's how you get responses. If I sent the same, I did what's called sourcing. And if I sent the same message over and over and over and over again without personally tailoring it to people, I barely got any kind of turnaround.
Right. And that's the other key. When you're looking to hire HR people that are watching, it's the same thing. Don't be generic. Okay. Talk to the person. People read through that like that, and they're over it.
Yeah, even though it is online, you're still communicating with a real person, and it can be so easy to forget that, I think. I don't want to make a generalization, but I think it can be easy to forget that. Is there anything you can do to make it personable, make it personal? Just seriously, like, anything you can do to show connection is going to be different.
Yes. And I want to say too, on that note, so when it comes to, so first I'm going to talk about the HR side of this and the recruiting side. And if you're a job seeker, this is what you should expect. And if you are on the hiring side of things, this is what you ought to be doing. Okay. And there's no excuse not to. Number one, if you're going to reject somebody, let them know. That is a pet peeve of mine. It can be an auto email that once you move them to rejected, it just lets them know. And the way that I handle that, and job seekers, let me tell you, we get way too many applicants to send you a personalized rejection. Okay. Now, we'll talk in a minute about what happens once you interview, but I'm just talking about, I just got your resume. That's all. I've never talked to you. You're going to get a canned response. Okay. But they should let you know.
Yeah, and what I don't let people, I'm sorry, I just wanted to say it's really crappy to not let people know, because they're counting on that position and waiting for you, and therefore missing other job opportunities.
Well, and even if they're not waiting, which they should not be, job seekers never put all your eggs in one basket, it still leaves them hanging, and that's not a cool feeling. So let them know. And what I do with my messages is I say, just, hey, you didn't get it. If you want specific feedback, reply to this email and I will I will give you specifics. And a few people take me up on it, and I give them the specifics. This is why you were not chosen. Mm-hmm. And, so I leave it up to them. Do you want the specifics or do you not? So number one, people on the hiring side, let them know if you're not going to hire them. And do not ever tell somebody you're going to call them or get back to them by a certain time frame and then not do it. Yeah.
Again, just don't
come on.
Just be That's a lack of professionalism. That's what that is. And if you're wanting to hire people who are professional, then you better be doing that yourself.
Yes, thank you. This is, and by the way, Michaela is not only working in psychology and counseling, she also has worked for me in the recruiting space, so she knows what she's talking about. Okay.
Well, our mother's been in the recruiting field for over 20 years now, so.
more than that, before I was born. So yeah, really long time.
How long ago that was.
A real long time though, several decades. So, but it really is true. You know, you interact with these people, tell them what's going on. And if you have interviewed somebody and you send them a canned rejection, that is so shitty. And I hardly ever cuss on this show, but I'm going to put that on out there. That is shitty. Do not do that. Reach out to them, let them know what's up, let them know what's happening. Now, sometimes, you know, if you're a recruiter, you can't help that your client's taking forever. You can still reach out and let the candidate know, yes, I am working on it. I will be back with you. I promise you. Now, on the candidate side, job seekers. All right. So I know, guys, right now with COVID especially, there has been a lot of delay in jobs, right? You apply, you go through this ridiculous interview process, and then just nothing, crickets. And I've had a lot of job seekers ask me, well, what do I do? What do I do with this? It's happening now more than has ever happened before. Mm-hmm. Okay. Number one, be patient. A lot of these guys were furloughed and all that, just like you. Sometimes hiring teams are just suddenly dispersed. So that could have been kind of what's going on. So send a follow-up email if you, immediately after your interview. Send another one a few days later.
Don't give them a chance to forget you.
Yes. And then wait like 2 weeks and then send one more and then you're done.
Yeah.
You know what? At that point, after that, but do not contact them every single day. That makes you a bugaboo. Do not bug people. They will not like you.
That gets annoying at that point.
Yes, it does. It does. So just, use a timeline, be professional. One thing too, guys, if you want to stand out, if you want to really, just wow people, I will give you a little secret. Okay. This is something that a lot of hired people won't tell you. People tell you, oh, it's all about your resume. Oh, it's about how well you answered this question, that question. Let me tell you how you really get hired. Make them like you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is it. I have taken jobs from more qualified people because I made people like me. Mm-hmm. I have hired people that I liked over people that I didn't. When people think I could seriously work with this person every day, that goes a lot further than anything else because there's a lot of things in jobs that can be trained, right?
Oh, yeah. And you can have the best resume and show up and totally turn them off with your personality.
Oh, yeah.
It's conceited, self-absorbed. Obviously not going to work with anybody else. Well, yeah, if you show up with like a bright, bubbly person, well, maybe not bubbly, that's me. Anyway, if you show up and they're drawn to your personality, that's gonna go so far. That has worked for me and Catherine, so many times.
Yes,
that's a big one.
It's so true. So when you're interacting with these people, be happy, be sunny, and not like annoying. Don't be like, like that, but just.
That's what I do.
And yes, Sharika, that is exactly why you were hired. Thank you for saying that. So I have an unusual way to hire my staff. I just sit down and I kind of just get to know them. Mm-hmm. All right, tell me about you. Tell me all about you. And when I met Sharika, she was a security guard. And I was like, this girl is way too bright to be just standing around guarding a door somewhere, whatever it was she was guarding. I don't remember. And she was working. Oh, I remember. She was working with this god awful client we had. And guys, this is another way that you can stand out. If there's a company that you really want to get into and things like that, kind of hear this story and apply it to your situation. So she was working with this god awful client. He was the rudest person I have ever seen work with other people. And she just let it roll off.
That's some strength.
Yeah, you want to insult me personally? Meh. No big deal. And then came in and just was laughing about it with everybody. It just had humor about it. It just, whatever. Because she said what he was upset about had nothing to do with me.
There you go.
So I'm just going to let it roll off. And so guys.
That's an employee to have. That is an employee that you're like, I'm going to have just like virtually no trouble from. So
yeah, virtually. Yeah. This person, and And the no trouble thing. So our mother and I are always talking about drama. Guys, if you come across like you are going to create problems, and let me tell you how you do that in the job interview process. Okay. You think everything's about you. Hey, can you do a Google Hangout interview? Well, I use Zoom. I didn't ask you that.
No, you better learn how to use Google Hangout.
Yeah, figure it out. You come time to negotiate, and you're just ridiculous with it. You just got all the things that you want to ask about. No. Every story you tell is about how somebody else caused a problem.
Yeah.
Okay? You are drama. If everything that comes out of your mouth is, oh, well, so-and-so did this and I had to fix it. Oh, if you constantly complain about your former workplace, if their whole interview is you telling me about how crummy the other place was, I am not going to hire you. You have a bad attitude. I don't care how true it is. I do not care how true it is. Focus on something else.
Yeah, that's not a thing to do in an interview, guys. Do not sit there and bash your other company, because what's that going to tell the employer? That you're going to do the same thing about them.
Well, and that your focus is wrong, because there's always something positive to be said. Always. Always, 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 always. And you could focus on what you did that was great. You could focus on a manager that you really liked, a project that you really liked.
Or even if it was a difficult environment to be in, focus on what you did in that environment, like how you survived in that environment. Maybe you didn't mention necessarily that the environment was crappy. I mean, if you think, room, if you think, sure, why not? But just focus on the things that you did.
Yes. That is a huge one, guys. Drama is a turn off. I have had so many people make that mistake over the years. The other thing is, when someone asks you how you're doing, something like that, do not give too much personal information. I hear that all the time. I literally,
I went for last weekend.
I had a guy tell me he had to get on ED medication. Legit, in a first interview, this happened, and I went,
did he get
I didn't know whether to say I'm sorry or no, he did not. And it wasn't even because of that. It was for other reasons. But I was going, I don't even know how to respond to that. What do I say to this?
Honestly, power to him for normalizing. Power to him, but just, again, professional. That's not something you want to disclose to a potential employer.
And on this note, guys, so we're talking about not getting lost in the shuffle and how to get a job and all that. So I do want to cover this. So I've been very open about mental health issues, right? And I have bipolar disorder, amongst a couple other random things. So it is okay to be comfortable with what you do, but know when and what you have, but know when to bring it up. Okay? Yeah. Don't right off the bat go, I'm bipolar or whatever it is.
Because then it just shows it's too much of a fixation in your mind.
Well, that and also it looks to them like you're setting them up for a lawsuit. Oh, you didn't hire me? Oh, it's because I told you I'm.
That's a good point.
Same thing with pregnant ladies. Anything like that, any medical disability that you have, don't bring that up initially.
Yeah, I never thought about it from that standpoint. That might have been a projection on my part, because the one thing that I sometimes bring up to employers, sometimes, it's gotten a lot better now, so I usually don't have to, but that I've had a couple of head injuries, one of which was a traumatic head injury. And so I get a little quirky every now and then. Now I've learned how to manage it beautifully. I really have. But on occasion, one of my sites right now that I'm placed at for counseling and for my internship, I forgot that I had told her, there's the head thing, that I had a brain injury. She brought it up. She's like, oh, is this something that affects like something happened in supervision? And I told her about something that happened with a client, and she was like, could that be related to your head injury? And I'm like, oh, I forgot that I told you about that. But it was good that I did. But yes. If I had said that in the interview process, oh, hey, I have a couple head injuries, you should probably
Yeah. And if you have a situation where you need to ask in terms of I need to know, are you going to be okay that I have a weekly doctor's appointment? Are you going to be, you do need to let people know that, but not right off the bat. That's something to let them know around the offer time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, by the way, I just want to give you a full heads up. Once a week, I do have to do this, but it's not a problem because XYZ.
Okay.
There.
Yes. That's a contingency plan. That's good. Like bring them something that you can do about it.
Yes. Yeah. Hey, I have this, but this is how I work around it. So just don't even worry about it. But it is just a heads up. And by the way, Sharika said, AJ said, hi. Hi, AJ. So AJ is my favorite little entrepreneur in the whole wide world. This child had a business at, I believe, 7 years old was when he started his first business, got his little permits and everything. Yeah, he's an amazing child. He's the one I used to leave in charge of my department when he was 5 years old. This is not a joke, guys. I left a 5-year-old in charge of 20 some odd adults, and he rocked it. He would call me with little reports, reports about everybody, tell me everybody's productivity. This dude, one day,
successful.
AJ Harvey, one day we are all going to be working for him, just so that everybody knows.
Bring him on the show. You need to let him talk about his business.
Oh, he will be. Our next entrepreneurship episode, yeah, best believe that little boy is going to be on it. So I want to go ahead. We have Craig in the waiting area. I want to go ahead and bring Craig on because I want to get.
Well, I want to jump off here pretty soon.
Okay.
So I have a couple more minutes, maybe like 2 or 3.
Then we'll say goodbye to you.
Okay, sorry.
Bye. Bye. Okay, Craig on. Bye.